Good morning, children. So today's sixth standard class, lesson number 4, that is disaster management. In our last period, we learn about the disaster or natural disaster. So in natural disaster, we learn about earthquakes, floods, drought, then forest fires, storms. So this effects of forest fire, effect of storms, effects of earthquakes, so that all natural disaster we learn in our last period. Now disaster management. What is meant by the disaster management? What happened in disaster? In disaster, the huge loss of property, life takes place. Okay. So a management is required. Disaster management means community participation and disaster management are closely related to each other. So taking steps to prevent the disasters. We have to take lots of steps to control it or to face disaster, and developing the capacity for that is called disaster management. Okay. So to prevent or reduce damage caused by natural or man-made disaster, emergency planning and management is required. Okay, to do each and everything, we have to require a good management. If we manage the thing in good way, we can achieve our goal. Okay, so that means the disaster management. Government has also took steps to manage this disaster management. If you have seen, you read in the newspapers, you read in you see the news in the on the television. So various agencies that work for the disaster management. Okay, let's learn for that. So institutes at work, the National Disaster Management Authority was established in 2005. It undertakes planning and implementation of disaster management work. It's an institute at work, established authority, that is the National Disaster Management. And so during a disaster, we should know helping and supporting each other is our moral responsibility. If anything happens with that's a naturally. So one thing is very much essential. We always help to the needy person or support each other is our moral responsibility. Okay, so for that disaster management, some phone numbers are given. How to manage it? So police 100 number, then fire brigade 101, ambulance we know 108, 102. So that is why disaster management cell is 108. So these numbers we should know in case of any natural disaster. ओके, हमें ये सब पता होना चाहिए कि कौन से डिजास्टर में क्या करना चाहिए. Then remedial and the preventive measures. Some preventive measures we should know to handle these natural calamity. So let us see what precautions we can take before or after the event of a natural man-made disaster management. Okay, first, what we have to do, we have always keep watching TV and radio news and bulletins. We get all the informations on TV or radio sets or news. Also, we have to read the newspapers. Okay, so we can manage it. We get information about the disaster before 24 hours, before 48 hours in case of cyclone and all these. So we should watch TV in case of disaster, also radio news, then use battery operated radios and mobiles. So in case anything, in case suppose in earthquake or in flood, so electricity that should stop in that case. So what we have to do, we have to use the battery operated radios, we have to use radio, mobiles also that is used on batteries, so we can get a correct news on radio and TV. Then heed the warning issue by the meteorological department carefully. So you know the meteorological department that works on the environmental conditions. So they are meteorologists, they give us information about disaster, about anything. So we should always issue the warning. We should also follow the warnings issued by the meteorological department carefully. Okay, then use the website that is www.imd.government.in. so this is the government website that gives the informations about disaster. Then landslides occurs usually in the hilly areas due to the cloud burst or heavy rain. On such occasions, do not take shelter at the foot of the hill. So this is the precaution measure in case of heavy rain or in case of cloud burst. What happened? So landslides occurs. So don't take a shelter the foot of the hill, usually in the hilly regions. Then during floods, do not linger in houses or areas on the river banks. Seek shelter in other safe places. Move to safer place at a greater height. Do not step into the water currents or drive a vehicle into them. These precautions we should have to take in case of floods. So during an earthquake, okay, so road splits open, the ground cracks, railway tracks get uprooted. Hence, when moving from one place to another, ensure that the road is safe further on. So in case of earthquake, what happened? The cracks are found on the roads. Then railway tracks ukhad jate, cracks develop, uprooted trees ho jate. So you should be careful at that time in case of earthquake. Then take shelter in relief camps as they provide medicines, food packets, drinking water, first aid kits also. So government made the facility for the people who suffer from the disaster, any disaster. So we should take a shelter in the relief camps. Means वो provide medicine provide करते, food provide करते, and whatever necessary facilities that we get in the camps. Okay, relief camps. Then to get protection from fire, in case of fire, so use fire extinguisher in police places, in public places like schools, hospitals, railway stations, etc. Now you know it is mandatory to all. So we should have to use the fire extinguisher in these public places. School में होते fire brigade extinguishers, hospitals में भी necessary किया है, railway station पे भी जरूरत है, and stations पे भी public places पे सारी public पे fire extinguishers होना जरूरी है. So we should use at that time in case of fire fight. Okay, so these are some remedial preventive measures. We should always follow these measures. Then first aid. What is mean by the first aid? First aid means an immediate help given to the person, to the sick person before the doctors arrive. So that is the first aid. We should remember this. In case of burns, in case of any injury, we should provide first aid for the people. We know whenever an accident happens, the injured person must be given to an immediate medical help before taken to the hospital. That is the first aid. Okay, so it is very essential because proper first aid can prevent the injury from getting worse condition, sometimes even save the life of the people. Okay, so remember this, children. It is very important for children to know about the first aid. What we use in a first aid? We have a first aid box at our home. So we should keep here thermometer, some medicines, from ointments we keep in the first aid box. Okay. So cotton, bandage, all this present in the first aid box. So when we have carry always first aid box. Then some accidents have happened, so that causes the external bleeding. Sometimes an accident happens, so an external bleeding, if a person is bleeding, first make him sit or lie down comfortably. Okay, what happened in case of anything, any accident, the external bleeding occurs. अगर बाहर से खून निकल रहा है आपके हाथों से, पैरों से, तो क्या करना चाहिए? सबसे पहले what first aid you should provide that person? So we should first make him sit or to lie down comfortably. Okay. Then what we do? Keep the bleeding part of the body above the level of the heart and clean it with water. So what should we have to keep? So the part of the body above the level of the heart. Okay. Then clean it with water and then apply the antiseptic cream. Okay, so that is the first aid for external bleeding. So various first aid tips we should have to learn now one by one. Second accident, if for burns and the scales. अगर हाथ जलता है आपका, burns हो जाता है, minor burns. For the minor burns, जैसे घर में भी हाथ जल जाता है, कुछ होता है. So you should know these first aid tips. So what which you have to do? The injured part should be washed with water or held under the water. So immediately you should put some water on the burned area. Okay. Then give the victim water to drink. So clean the wound using a cotton swab soaked in an antiseptic solution, Dettol, Savlon. These are the iodine. So these are some antiseptic solutions. So wash the wound with the antiseptic solution. Then don't apply oily ointments on that. Okay. Then cover wound with dry dressing. और हम लोग अगर जलते हैं तो हम लोग बर्नॉल यूज करते हैं ना. So cover the wound with dry dressing. So these are the first aid tips for the minor burns. We can cure this in our home, minor burns. But for severe burns are very harmful, very dangerous situations create sometimes. Okay. So अगर बहुत सारा जल जाता है तो we should have to take a good care of that patient. Then give emotional support. पहले ही भी डर जाते हैं पेशेंट है ना, बहुत जलन होने लगती है सीवियर बर्न में से. So give emotional support. Cover the wound with sterilized cloth. So you should always use a cotton cloth. Don't use the synthetic clothes. Synthetic clothes they catch the fire और वो जलने लगता है. मतलब वो cotton का cloth always good. So remove jewelry, shoes if easily possible. Do not touch or the burst the blisters on the skin. जो blisters आ जाते हैं जलने से, burst हो जाते हैं. So don't touch it. Don't apply the oily ointment on that portion. Then don't try to remove the cloth if it's stuck to the burnt skin. से और जलन होगी और skin की जो हमारी जो wound है और ज़्यादा जख्मी, यानी अंदर जाने की ज़रूरत अंदर जा सकती है. So don't remove the cloth if it's stuck to the burnt skin. Okay. Then if the patient is conscious, give water to drink, but avoid tea or coffee or other simultaneous drinks. Get medical aid at once and immediately take that patient to the hospital. Doctor will give the further treatment to that person. Okay. So this is about the burns. Then sunstroke. You know, sunstroke is when usually occurs in the summer season, whenever the temperature becomes very high. So one way work in the sun continuously for a long time, the body loses the lot of water and minerals due to evaporation, due to sweating. So lots of water that remove from the body, that is the dehydration. So that reason is for the sunstrokes. Okay, usually occurs in the summer season. Then remedial measures, take the patient to cool place or in the shade. जो पर्सन अगर सनस्ट्रोक होता है, चक्कर आता है, धूप में गिर जाता है, तो वो पर्सन को आपको शेड में ले जाके अच्छे से आराम से बिठाना होगा. देन स्पॉन्ज द होल बॉडी विथ कोल्ड वाटर, क्योंकि बॉडी के अंदर से ऑलरेडी वाटर इवेपोरेट हो गया है, वाटर रिमूव हो गया है, सो दैट पेशेंट रिक्वायर्ड लॉट्स ऑफ वाटर. So sponge the whole body of that patient with a cool water. Then place a cloth soaked in the cold water on the neck region. Then give plenty of water or liquids like sharbat to drink. Means उसमें sugar, salt दोनों का body में proportion अच्छे से हो जाने के लिए. So give him. Then if a patient feels like vomiting, make him lie prone. So on his her abdomen with the head and turn to the one side. Okay. So these precautions you should give at the time of sunstroke. Then snake bite. In case of snake bite, so nearly 2000 species of snakes. Of these, only few like cobras, crabs, vipers, and sea snakes are poisonous. Okay, other snakes are not poisonous. Some snakes are more poisonous. Therefore, all snakes bites are not fatal. Okay. However, fear causes severe psychological shock, which can result in death. Okay, sometimes that results due to the patient को जो psychologically shock होता है कि snake bite हुआ है, सांप ने काटा है, वही बहुत काफी है कि डेथ के लिए. Many snakes are not poisonous. Okay, so if you come across a snake, contact the Sarpamitra rather than killing the snake at once. So we should wash the wound with water. पहले जहाँ पे काटा है आपको, first you wash the wound to remove the extra venom. Give emotional support to the patient. You should give the emotional support to the patient at that time. The support is very much important. Tie a cloth tight bandage above the wound. You know, whenever you should bite a snake, if you bite a snake, what happens? You should tie a bandage above the wound. क्योंकि wound के ऊपर क्यों बांधना चाहिए? क्योंकि direct so blood flow stop हो जाने के लिए should tie the above the bandage above the wound. So in case when a poisonous snake such as cobra or crab bites, sometimes it injects a poison in our victim's body. So this poison injected by the snake travels through the blood and affect the heart or other organs. So in case of snake bite, you should tie a bandage above the wound. Okay, so get immediately medical help. The person, after that you take the person immediately to the hospital for further treatment. Okay, then dog bite. Dog bites are also, there is a risk of infection through the blood. So hence the first aid and medical help are necessary. You know, the dog saliva contains rabies germs, some bacteria that contains rabies. So you should wash the wound with water and take the person to the hospital for immediate treatment. So these are the various first aid tips for various situations. Then remedial measures: wash the wound with Solution of potassium permanganate or other antiseptic in case of dog bite. Okay, this is the potassium permanganate is antiseptic lotion or other antiseptic. You can use Dettol also. Then cover the wound with a clean and dry cloth to avoid injury, to avoid the contact of germs. Take the doctor's help and doctor will give the person that is anti-rabies vaccine. So anti-rabies vaccine is used to prevent the rabies. So this is about the first aid tips of many things. Then we learned in this lesson a sudden calamity that is called a disaster. We learned in this lesson. Then natural disaster, that are the disaster are natural or the man-made disasters we learn. Then alertness and immediate action are necessary in such occasions. Then effective disaster management and use of remedial measures can help reduce the losses. And every person should know about the safety precautions and the first aid for various disaster. Okay, or various accidents happen. So this is the lesson of natural disaster or disaster management we learn in this lesson. These are very much important. So children, next period we will continue with the question answers of same topic. So bye everyone.